briefs, I'm going to be up here with no wiggle room, and you're going to be way down here struggling and dropping. And then you might add a few briefs, and then you'll move a little faster. But that's supporting my case. You're adding some briefs, and it made you faster. Those of us who brief a lot, we're automatically writing faster than you. And so somehow you've tricked yourself into believing, Jennifer, that if you write everything out, it helps you gain speed. It doesn't. It slows you down, just like putting weight in a car. Maybe she's saying this: if I have 500 pounds of weights in the back of my car, then I have wiggle room, and when I'm in a race, I can throw the weights out, and that will help me go faster. When the person way ahead of you that you're not going to catch up to never had the 500-pound weight, no, they can't throw it out, they have no wiggle room, but they're ahead of you and they'll stay there. You won't be able to catch up. She added, writing briefs does not make you faster. It doesn't. It absolutely makes you faster. It is incontrovertible that to write fewer strokes makes you faster, all other things being equal. Absolutely it does. Why do you think the students love the brief? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, they love it because they can write, and they're done. You should write that out every time. You shouldn't even take the brief if it doesn't make you faster. But of course it does. That's why they like it. And of course it makes you faster at jury charge to learn as many briefs as possible for jury charge. And Jennifer, if you use briefs in sports events, you said, when I can use briefs like for names during sporting events. Well, you know, the reason you use briefs for names during sporting events is because you couldn't keep up if you were writing out those names in the sporting events. So you're admitting you need the briefs in sporting events. And those of us who already brief everything would not have needed to add as many briefs as you did, and we'd be writing the whole show much easier than you are because you write everything out. You're missing that point completely. Repeating what she just said and continuing, she added, writing briefs does not make you faster. If it did, everyone would be RMRs. Are you kidding me? If writing briefs made you faster, everyone would be RMRs? You must be kidding me. First, a huge percentage of court reporters today learned these stroke-intensive theories, and so they don't brief much. And they're not going to be RMRs, and they're still not, because of the fact they won't brief. Other reporters aren't briefing. Only some of us who write really short have discovered how great it is, and it's helped us achieve our goals. So the people who aren't going to brief aren't going to be RMRs, and the people who learn to brief well are going to be RMRs. So no, that's not correct. So I'm afraid that a number of things that our friend Jennifer Bonfiglio said are just not logical. And bless her heart, I'm going to assume she's an excellent captioner, but her knowledge of briefs and how they gain speed is lacking. She doesn't understand it. And if she would like to test it in any scenario, I'll be happy to test it with her. There's no way you can keep up with fast stuff, writing everything out. You can't do it. Continuing, we're almost done with the article. So now we've just finished with the two experts that the author has consulted, neither of whom specialize in briefs, nor have they ever specialized in using briefs to my knowledge, nor do they specialize in speed. I haven't seen our friend Jennifer in the speed contests at all. That's not to say anything other than I haven't seen her in the speed or real time. She may have been in a real time contest, I don't know, but I don't recall her placing high, if at all. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that. And I'm not criticizing the author personally. I'm not criticizing Anita personally, one of the nicest people I've ever met. And I'm not criticizing Jennifer personally, a person who I've only talked on the phone once, and I'm assuming she's a great person. What I am disputing is the accuracy of their statements regarding briefs. Continuing, back to the author. Where is all the hubbub about this part of steno? I don't get it. Do you? What's that mean? I'm sorry, I don't understand that sentence, so I can't respond to it. Next, this, quote, speed ability, unquote, seems more fundamental than a set of briefs only good for specific words. What? I'm going to read it again and then try to interpret it. This speed ability, quote unquote, seems more fundamental than a set of briefs only good for specific words. If I interpret it, he's saying speed comes from other fundamentals than using briefs or the lack thereof. I think that's what he's saying. Speed consists of other than briefs. I totally disagree with that, because speed consists of two things and only two things. One is how fast you move your fingers. The second is how short you write. He's discounting the second one. He's apparently only thinking it's how fast you write your fingers. Then he throws in hesitation and mastery, as Ms. Paul did. But we both have hesitation and mastery. We both agree you don't hesitate and you must master your strokes. So nobody's arguing about hesitation and mastery. We've all got that. All of us who are fast, we have cut hesitation and we have mastered our theory. So he must be talking about finger speed. What other fundamental is there? And finger speed is hard to gain, and we all have different amounts of it, and I have done the math and figured out what is the top finger speed. Basically, most reporters top out at about 4.5 strokes a second as far as keeping it in a sustained manner so that you pass something, where you're actually getting it about 4.5 strokes a second, most. When I made the world record that I made of 360 words a minute of testimony for 1 minute, I had to do nearly 5 strokes a second to do that. I, in fact, wrote about 4.8 strokes per second for 1 minute and passed it at 97.22. That was extremely difficult. Very few people, there might be a few, but if they are, they're super talented, can sustain faster than 5 or even 4.5 or 5 strokes a second on sustained material and pass it. I haven't seen anybody do it other than myself. I did see one lady in one of my seminars who wrote 6 strokes a second, and she had to because she writes everything out. But it's extremely rare. So I know how fast fingers can go, and there's an upper limit. It's about 4.5 to 5 strokes a second, and if we assume that hardly any of us can pass that, we now know exactly how fast all of you can write. All we've got to do is look at your theory, see how many strokes you write, then give you the maximum strokes per second, 4.5 or 5, and now we have your top speed. Done. And if you write everything out, it's less than 300, I guarantee you. And if you write short, we can go well above 300, and I believe we can go into the 400 range if we write short enough and move our fingers as fast as possible. But those who write everything out are stuck around 200, 220 or less for the most part. Wow, but what about Jennifer? She wrote 260. Well, I'd like to see in that 260 she passed, I'd like to see how short she wrote or how long. Maybe she didn't write everything out in the Q&A that she passed in the RMR. We'd have to see that. But I assume if she writes everything out, she has very fast fingers and she managed to pass the RMR. One more thing I'll guarantee you. People who write everything out cannot write verbatim, beautiful real time at high speeds. Simply cannot. The math says you can't do it, and I challenge that. If I'm wrong, there's 1 or 2 people that can do it. We'll see. Continuing. Even from day to day, we may write beautifully and effortlessly, then the next morning be slogging through simple words with uncooperative fingers. All he's saying is some people have bad days. Most of us have bad days. Some have them often, some have them rarely. I have bad days, and it's rare, but I have them. But for me, a bad day, my accuracy just goes down a little. And I might drop a couple more times than I usually do. But that's what a bad day is for me. So continuing. As frequent as this experience can be, it's a wonder people don't realize they aren't suddenly writing twice as many strokes on the bad days as they are on the good. I still don't get this sentence. Let's try it again. As frequent as this experience can be, bad days, it's a wonder people don't realize that they aren't suddenly writing